I think you need to do a couple things to have a successful airdrop. You need to make your biggest believers wealthy, very wealthy. Like we saw this with Hyperliquid. They ran the playbook. They made their biggest believers super wealthy. So you need to find a way to identify your biggest believers on base. And I think it's through some of those apps. Like I think it's Zora at I think Zora and Farcaster could be like the prominent part of how they identify the base, like mega fanboys, to be honest.
What's up, everybody? It's LG Doucette here. Welcome to the Milk Road Degen podcast, the bi-weekly reminder that yes, most tokens do go to zero, but maybe, just maybe, we found one that won't. Doubtful, but maybe. Today, we have the crypto czar of Bodagos. He makes a lot of their content. He's worked his way into being the lead of their daily show, the Daily Bone. He likes to tinker with new tech. He describes himself as a crypto dad, and going so far back that when he was a kid, he used to open up computers just to see what was on the inside. And that's what he did with crypto just a couple years ago, especially NFTs. But now this guy's in the trenches with us every day. This is somebody I look to, and been watching their show a lot this week to know what's going on, get a better sense of what's going on in the market. And today we're going to literally watch a ticker pump live on the show. We're going to talk about XPL from Plasma. We're going to talk about the market lows and if there's anything we should be loading up on, as well as anything we shouldn't be loading up on. Before we start, for our YouTube listeners, please subscribe, hit that like button, drop a comment below. And our podcast listeners, listen, 5-star rating, a review. It means a lot. We're trying to get this thing off the ground. We're just getting started. So anything you can do to contribute from an engagement perspective would be awesome. And today's episode is brought to you by EarnPark. Select risk-adjusted strategies. The platform automates execution and offers daily or monthly payouts. Here he comes, Mr. Ray RCIV. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Really happy to be on. Thank you for that very awesome and kind intro. I've been a big fan of yours since back in the first Mint days. Happy to see this podcast. This podcast has been one that I've been watching myself. You've had a ton of esteemed guests on here. I'm very honored and I'm feeling a little bit of what they call it, imposter syndrome, being on this show with you after some of the big names you've had.
I had imposter syndrome being on your show the other day, man. Like it's like, or, you know, it's you guys have done a great job. You do a great job as a host on a daily basis. So make sure you guys, even before we go to anything else, if you guys are looking, listen, this podcast is only twice a week. If you need like a daily fix of this shit, you want to be in earlier probably than even DJ. I shouldn't say this, but if you want to be in earlier stuff than even what we do on Milk Road Degen, Daily Bone of Ray is where you want to be. It's on X Spaces and on YouTube at 9 a.m. Eastern every single day. And you guys are so early, man. How does that, there's a lot of things I want to talk about today, but I promised you that we would start the show by talking about XPL and some of the drama you've been going through in just like the last couple minutes here as one of your positions close. So let's pull it up. XPL, if you don't know, is the token from Plasma, which is kind of like Ray, how would you even describe this? Kind of like a fancy new like stable coin company that's overly hyped. Anybody who got in on that pre-sale, which was capped at 500 million, it was mega oversubscribed. I think only got 5% of their contribution, but now they're up 20x, 30x at this point, whatever that was. Probably not a lot for some people, but still a substantial amount. And I think everybody who had contributed in their initial USDC round, which were, I think, like sold out in like a couple minutes, but it was basically where you could actually pledge an amount to go into their yield protocol. Those people all got like 10 grand worth of tokens or something, even if they put in $5. And the Discord OGs, dude, this is the first time in years that I've heard that a Discord role has gotten a massive allocation. I'm pretty sure each of those people currently is holding like $30,000 of this token as it hovers just above $9 billion this morning. Ray, tell me how you're feeling about this.
I'm feeling both vindicated and very upset. I was telling LG before the show, I opened up a long this morning on XPL ahead of launch. I was thinking, hey, this is an airdrop where people, or not an airdrop, but like an ICO launch where people are up multiple X's. Like I think it was like 16 to 20X at the time of like this morning before they launched. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a bet here that this is going to be a bullish unlock of tokens rather than a bearish one, that people are going to want to explore this chain. You're going to see hype about this chain, and then people are going to need to be buying XPL to get onto it. And people are also going to want to use their XPL on the chain to earn yield. So my thought process was, hey, there's a lot of like uncertainty with what the token buyers are going to be doing. And I want to enter in here day of with a little bit of a leverage position on the long side to really capitalize. And I opened it up on Hyperliquid. I have like preset stop losses and take profits that I normally kind of execute with these trades. So I had a take profit at like maybe a 5% gain, 3x leverage, 15% gain. So a small gain. And I was going to monitor the position throughout the day, but I had some stuff in the IRL come up that like it didn't allow me to adjust before our show in the morning, which I recorded right before this one. And then as I was getting onto the show with LG, my position sold out at a take profit at 85 cents. If you can see on the screen now, we are at like 93 cents almost. So huge cook there. Was right, but essentially was wrong after taking profit.
Oh man. So I'm sorry to hear it, man. I'm sorry. I mean, listen, but you did the disciplined thing. You did what like we like you said, we've had all these smart, rich people on the show who have generally preach levels of degeneracy, but now in their veteran years have now said that, you have to be a disciplined trader. So technically what you did is smart. It's just you'd be up like probably 2x more than what you were if it hadn't closed. And this surge happened fast too, man. This is like these green candles, these are 5-minute candles. These green candles happened as we were chatting before recording the show. You know, so it went literally like from when you hopped on from 7.8 to now like 9.3, 9.4, right? So that's a funny timing of things. What do you do now? What do you do something like this? This thing is super hyped. I saw a lot of people saying this should be valued at least $10 billion. So now it's just under that. How do you play something like this? Do you wait and see for another long? Do you get crazy, open a short? What do you do?
I'll tell you what I want to do, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. What I want to do is click buy long right now. Like I want to click buy and long at this point and just ride it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to say, you know what? I think we're going to pull back again to 85 cents. Maybe I'll set a limit order there. And get the entry of my exit that I saw initially, because I think this chain has promise. I think there are a number of big partnerships. I think it is backed by Tether. Like these are all very, very big bullish things that are exciting in a landscape where stable coins are surging. Like I said, backed by Tether. Tether just raised or is trying to raise at a $500 billion valuation. So this is getting a ton of attention and it's very hot. I'm going to do the discipline thing. Hopefully we get back to 85 cents in my limit order hits, but I'm not going to chase right now, because once I start chasing after something like this, I find majority of the time, like I get shaken out of the position. Like I buy here, we dip down to that 85 number and I go, okay, I made profit, made a mistake. And now I just made another mistake longing the top. So I'm going to wait for a pullback after such a like violent move from 70 cents at the bottom there to 93 cents. Like that's a pretty substantial move on a large market cap token.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, and also too, like this was obviously going to be the story of the day, right? People anticipated that. You have a larger market shakeout that is, I don't think it's just people liquidating for this. I think that's just a general kind of downtrend. But definitely like this, days like today's where you see kind of a general pullback in the days before for small mid caps, as that like degen money rotates, probably to catch moves like what we just talked about, right? Like look for that open, look for that low on the open, and then try and get it. And it's something that I think you can only really do this if you're fully locked in and you're ready, even like you were. And I will defend what you did, despite it being currently painful, that it's like, listen, you're ready to catch, how much leverage do you have? 3x? I think it's a max you can take on Hyperliquid. Is there more on, can you do more than that on
3x
on Aster? Could you leverage more than that? Or are we looking at the spot?
I'm looking at XPL on I'm seeing 25x.
You can 25x this on Aster?
Yeah, I'm seeing 25x on Aster at a price point of almost 95 cents.
No, it's a 4x.
I'm looking at 20. I'm looking at 25 on my screen.
What the fuck are you talking about? In terms of being able to look at this little number right here, it's 4.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, this might be just a thing of Aster's UI. On my side,
probably
on the right side, I see cross leverage 25x. Maybe they've dropped it since I loaded the page up. If they're seeing a ton of volume. The one thing about Aster that I'll tell you is I tried to long Hyperliquid on it the other day, and it's like might have saved me at like 45 cents. I was like, okay, I think we've hit a bottom here. But they cap how much open leverage you can have at certain levels. So I wasn't able to get like very much down at all on Hyperliquid on Aster.
Well, congratulations. Yeah. you know, that's a lot better than I did. Honestly, I had a long on Hyperliquid at 57 the other day.
Ugh,
and
that's tough.
I thought it would bounce. I was like, it'll come back. And I didn't read those. I didn't read the tea leaves. Probably. Do you think Hyperliquid is down because of Aster? Is that why, or is this Hyperliquid pullback? Is that 100% why?
For sure, 100%. I mean, I think Hyperliquid just hit an all-time high and was hot anyway. I think that Aster is making this a more pronounced drawback. If you look at CoinMarketCap, you look at the top 100 coins, like Hyperliquid is like the number 3 loser on the week. And like that's well beyond what we've seen for the general market pullback. And I think that's just like directly involved with Aster releasing, having a serious competitor and one with a chart that's getting absolutely beautifully painted by CZ when he's continuing to pump this price. So I think people are saying, hey, shiny new toy price go up. I have Perp's market exposure. There's a newcomer. I want to either hedge or I want to get a piece of the newcomer, and people are selling Hyperliquid to get into Aster.
Like when you say people, like I don't know. I mean, I don't know the size of your port, but I'm assuming it's not you and me.
No, I'm not moving the price. I'm not.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, when you say people, are we're talking about what? Like people with 7 and 8 figure ports, right? 8 figure ports, probably at least.
Even larger, or like institutional funds that are doing like this crypto investing. They say, okay, we need to rebalance Hyperliquid into Aster at some point here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. And they're doing that. You know, Aster is one of those things where we had JMC on the show, and that was a week ago. So that was like on day 3 of Aster being out, and it was still like 70 cents then. And he was like, "Listen, this is my biggest bet in a long time." This early Pepe vibes. Did you see that the same way? Because clearly he did. Institutional funds saw it that way. I think a lot of people kind of hummed and hawed a little bit on it. Did you see that same trajectory for it? You know, hitting a high of 230 yesterday. Now I think receding a little bit. Did you know it was going to do that?
I longed at $1.60. I saw this and I traded it multiple times across the initial run up last week. I saw a lot of smart people talking about it across multiple channels in the 30 to 50 cent range. And that kind of like got on my radar, but I had such a busy day during that day. As somebody who works in crypto, I think you can understand juggling like the actual work versus the degenning on chain. And I just didn't have time to look into it. But once I like kind of got my bearings and saw it at 50 cents and saw what had happened. And like, basically it's like, okay, CZ has essentially owned this token, has been bolt posting on the timeline. He doesn't post charts. And I was like, okay, I think this is something that's going to continue to run. So I took a spot position at around 50 cents. I sold that off on the way up. And then once it like did that,
where did you sell it? Where did you sell your 50 cents position?
Not very much. 65 cents. Yep. Then we peaked at like $1.80 or something.
Yeah.
We retraced and I said, okay, here comes that second pump. So if you look at the Aster chart, like go to like the 4 hour maybe.
Yeah. This is just on Hyperliquid.
It's like a classic. It's just like a classic like chart. If you're going to paint it, you're going to have that initial pullback where you pulled back like 30% off of all-time highs, and then I longed it right around like 160, and then I ran that all the way up. I actually finally like timed the top perfectly, 240 on the exit on Aster there. So
yeah, 36% pullback initially from like the 20th was what? Saturday morning high to like the Sunday evening low of 130. Damn. What do you think of this? So is this are we going to see Plasma XPL like steal some Aster's thunder here? Like a lot of people, you know, because probably a lot of those big ports probably caught a good amount of this upside, and they're probably up at least 3x on this, right? A lot of people up dramatically. Are a lot of them rotating into Plasma here for the pump? And is any money going to come back to Aster? Or is this thing going to continue its march to $4 or whatever it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a good answer for that on the XPL side. I'd like to think that a number of people like on the fund side who are like in Aster, in Hyperliquid, saw Plasma's ICO, had large deposits in there and had early exposure. And then that was just like such a big return. I don't know if they're going to be buying more, but I could see like on-chain money, like smaller fish chasing people who missed Plasma, maybe US based people who didn't want a KYC for Plasma. aren't accredited investors jumping in. Yeah, so like, I mean, and they are like different products. Like this is a stable coin versus a perp dex, but in a market where everything's going down, people want to chase the new thing that could be going up and could be mispriced. So I think we're seeing like the overall market today isn't great. Like everything's down across the board, but you are having some of these spots of brightness, like XPL, Aster's down on the day, but not quite as bad as the majors. So people are looking for opportunities to make money and click buttons on the daily. And I think that today XPL is kind of like represents that bet.
What else is on your radar right now? Like what else is coming up, right? Because even if we did the show 2 weeks ago, there'd be no Plasma, there'd be no Aster. Maybe we'd be on like day one of Punk strategy, right? But it's like, are you currently like yourself at like a high rotation game right now? And if so, is there anything that isn't Plasma or Aster that is like you think is like the day one of Aster right now?
So there's nothing right now that is out that I'm in that I can buy that I think is like the day one of Aster. I think that there are other opportunities on the horizon. I mean, there's a number of airdrops coming this year. There's the OpenSea airdrop. There's Monad. There's all these trading bots on Solana potentially having airdrops. There's the Meteora token airdrop. Like there's a number of airdrops that are going to be interesting when they launch to see how price action works. One ecosystem that should be launching later this year that I am interested in that I guess you can kind of get some exposure in is MegaETH, which is interesting to me, being a like an L2 with super high performance on Ethereum. I have exposure to that through a soulbound NFT, and also you can trade on the open market the Fluffle or the Bad Buns NFTs, which people are like basically saying are going to give some sort of exposure to MegaETH at launch. So that's like something that you can kind of get in today. I haven't checked the price on them lately. I'm holding like a handful of them. I think I have like a half dozen of those that I average into as they drop. What are we at right now?
0.31 ETH. So it's probably a decent entry because I know a lot of people were buying. It was pretty hot when they were around half an ETH.
Yeah. If you zoom out on that, I think they got all the way sub 0.2. I think I got a couple sub 0.2. I got my last two there. Yeah, like this level is like probably slightly above my overall average entry price. And this is basically just a bullish bet on MegaETH as an ecosystem. And I think they're going to drop this year. I think this is coming out this year.
Stable coins are important, but honestly, they're kind of boring. No wild price swings, no adrenaline rush, but EarnPark changes that by letting you put your spare USDT to work with automated yield strategies that earn up to like 30% APY on USDT, 15% on Bitcoin, 7% on Ethereum, Solana, and Dogecoin. What you do is you go to earnpark.com and you sign up. You pick your risk level, like low, medium, or high, and EarnPark automates everything with daily or monthly payouts. Pretty simple. It's like CeFi simple, but with DeFi transparency. If you're ready to start, go to earnpark.com today. It's convenient that you're talking about airdrops because literally the last newsletter that I wrote was the airdrop meta is back and what you can farm in Q4. And I think, even when I was writing this, dude, I was like, there are just so many things coming suddenly. Like, I feel like we went through a time like maybe a year ago. We're like, man, that's it. That's it for airdrops. Like, I think after Blast kind of fucked everybody up that it was like, that's it. We're done. There's nothing new. And I don't think we even realized that we'd started to use products that were going to have like massive airdrops down the line. And even something like Hyperliquid is something that I wasn't a perp guy. I don't think many of us were perp people before. And the main way to farm Hyperliquid in season 1, season 2 was spot, but season 1 was all perp. So it's anytime somebody would be like, you should really farm Hyperliquid, I'd be like, I don't know how to do this. I don't understand leverage. Like, I'm too stupid for this. And obviously it was a huge mistake to fade that.
I was a Blast guy, and like, I don't know if you remember War Daddy on Blast.
Of course, yeah. I know where you're going with this.
And he rotated into Hyperliquid. Like, it was kind of like a hated like exit from Blast at the right time when you look back at it. And what you should have done was follow him. And now he's over with Kinetic on Hyper EVM.
He works at Kinetic?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Good for him. That guy seems pretty sharp. I got to get that guy. I got to get that guy on the show too. I got to get him on. But dude, I remember exactly what we were talking about because there was a whole, what was cool about Blast though, is that I feel like a whole new class of influencers rose to prominence through Blast, right? Because we had the ancient influencers, and many of them would come on the show, and they're still influencers, but they've kind of made it, from 2021 from the NFT run, and then you had Blast come along, and it felt like you had a whole new class of like trencher grinder content people that came up through that, And, you know, and then once Blast released and didn't do well, then those people kind of spread out all over the place, right? War Daddy's a very good example of that. So did you do well on Blast? Were you hot on Blast?
I made money on Blast, the chain itself, while farming.
Okay.
So like I was net positive being like a participant in Blast on chain. I don't know if I played the airdrop correctly. Like I held a lot of it. And I also did like a decent amount of like stablecoin yield with their mobile app when that launched. I think they were like ahead of their time and somehow didn't innovate in time, because now we're seeing like, hey, stablecoin apps, make this available to the public, make it easy. And that was their goal, but they just haven't shipped in a fast enough manner to capture market. So like they had like a very easy and attractive mobile app for stablecoin yield, and they just never really kind of caught fire.
And now Pac Moon hasn't tweeted, I think, in like 6 months or something like that. We haven't seen him.
He's active. He's just active on the mobile app, which is like super odd. Like he's
is he really? I didn't even know that.
There's like a chat. There's like a chat app. Like there's 2 apps in it. It's like earn yield and like chat. And the chat app Pac-Man's in there, like just kind of like just talking.
I didn't even know that. That is hilarious. If you had to pick one airdrop, and I only did so, just to backtrack to airdrop stuff. You know, when I was writing this, I realized that there's just like a sheer amount of like insane airdrops coming up, right? And I had to kind of pick and choose, be selective here, because I didn't want to throw people, you know, especially like our dedicated readers and listeners, I didn't want to throw them into the deep end by being like, hey, here's 50 airdrops you can farm, because it's like insane. Especially if you haven't started. I think it's like way too late to start for most of these. So if you had to pick like one thing on your, like one thing that you're like, if you were starting right now, that's what you're going to farm hard for, let's say, the next 2 months for like the high potential airdrop, what would it be? And while you think, I'll go through the list of what I put in the newsletter. I wrote some that we were way too late too. So I wrote that Meteora is probably a little too late, because people have been doing that for years. Season 2 is about to, or I don't know if it'll wrap up, but their token is in October. MetaMask, I don't even use it anymore. I switched to Rabby, so I think it's on-chain swaps that you need to do to earn it. They also had these quests, but I thought that was also too late. They also have like 1 million users, and I also think that Lighter, a different perp dex, is also pretty close to TGE or something like that. So that's something I wrote as like a little too late. And feel free to disagree with me. If anything, please do disagree with me. You can say no. I wrote base as something that you can go hard on, because we still don't know what the criteria is. They might do a points thing. Who knows?
Time out. Yeah. Yes. If you are a listener and you're on base, especially if you're not somebody with a very large Twitter account, go on to Zora, make a creator coin for yourself. And
there you go.
Mint some stuff. Mint like a dozen posts or something. Like
Did you make one? I feel like you showed me that you made one. You did. Yeah.
So zero cost basis. Any zero cost basis farming you can do is big. So Zora, make a creator coin. It's definitely like a trickier thing if like you're a public figure in the space. I don't consider myself a public figure in the space yet, so I have no issues just doing this on Zora.
What is this?
Yeah, no issues.
8.5K market cap, dude. Come on.
No, I don't need. I don't need you showing this, because I don't need this to be something I need to worry about. I do this,
guys. If you want to support Ray, go buy his Zora token.
Don't do that. Do not buy my Zora token. You get to see
who's the top holder. Who are the top holders? Let's see who that.
There are people who listen to Bodogo show. I think I made it live.
Who's Tuggy?
Yeah, he's a rec guy.
Oh, Nick has some.
Yeah,
that is so funny.
No, do not buy my creator coin. I'm just doing this for the airdrop, essentially.
Oh yeah, nobody's touched this in a while.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, so that's been my main thing, and I have that in another newsletter coming out tomorrow or today when people are listening to it. I also said, like, listen, just go on Zora. Like, I'm going to go on Zora and do that. I'm going to force myself to go back on Farcaster and try and write things there. But I also saw, somebody shared this like Berserk list that apparently Jesse Polak retweeted or endorsed. That was like every single, like things like Coop Records and like Paragraph. And there's an airdrop farmer, FIP Crypto, that I follow, who's like, I'm totally changing my content strategy just to maximize base and just go super hard on it and use every single thing that they have. Is that what you think we're going to need to do? Is like, besides Zora and all the things that they've really publicly endorsed, do you think it makes sense to really spread out to all these apps?
I think it'd be very smart to do Zora. I think it'd be very smart to get on the Farcaster. Again, zero cost basis things are like the things you want to target here. There's different airdrop strategies. Some people like it'll be volume based, or it'll check one or two apps. And like sometimes you have these like bucket based where it's like, okay, how many of these protocols did you interact with? How many of these NFT collections do you own? And it puts you into tiers that way. So like the more exposure across multiple protocols you have for something like a tier based activity requirement, the better. And you want to be targeting things with no cost basis or low cost basis, because you don't want to get wrecked. Like we talked about Blast, like a lot of people got wrecked trying to farm for gold and losing money in the process. And when you don't know what the token's going to do, a base token, I mean, it's going to be hard, I think. But like if you're losing like $2,000 or $3,000 like over the course of 6 months, like that could be what your airdrop was, and you just spent all that time and money and you broke even. So look for low cost basis. Look for things that you can leverage. I'd say like the easiest things that would be like things you would have to spend money on, maybe opening some LPs on Aerodrome. You maybe just do like a USD, USDT LP on Aerodrome, which is like basically no risk. That means you touch that protocol. We talked about Zora and Farcaster. Maybe you buy a couple of the base NFTs. Maybe you buy bases for everyone, the token. Like maybe you own some of that. Maybe you own 1 or 2 meme coins on base. Maybe you you participate in Fantasy Top. There's a free version as well. Just getting into that protocol, they have a free version. You can sign up, and that'll at least get that wallet some activity there. But there's like a number of different things you can do base native that would get you at least, you would think could get you eligibility.
If you were the base team, how would you shape your airdrop? Like if Jesse calls you tomorrow, he's like, listen, I need you to quit Bodagos and come on full-time advisor to our airdrop strategy. What are the top 3 things you're going to outline for them in terms of how they need to manage this to both pump the price, keep people happy, whatever?
I think you need to do a couple things to have a successful airdrop. You need to make your biggest believers wealthy, very wealthy. Like we saw this with Hyperliquid. They ran the playbook. They made their biggest believers super wealthy. So you need to find a way to identify your biggest believers on base. And I think it's through some of those apps. Like I think it's Zora at Fark. I think Zora and Farcaster could be like the prominent part of how they identify the base, like mega fanboys, to be honest. I think you make them wealthy. And then I think you have continued incentives for people to be trading on your chain. So everyone's posting about how much money they made on base. And then, hey, look, I can go on the base and there's still going to be another airdrop. They've shown a history of making people wealthy with these airdrops. What can I do to get involved? And that you want, because your goal is to drive volume and attention to your chain. So like that's what I would do. I did put in my my limit order. So I'm switching gears here for XPL.
Yeah, I literally just opened that up. Hold on. It was a good answer. Oh, you said it was a good answer, but I also got distracted because this thing's like almost at 9.5 now.
I think this is like actually a good like what just happened is a good like microcosm of like crypto and like my crypto trading and kind of my strategy. I'm so all over the place, and I do so much rotating, like between airdrop farming, like majors, perp trading on the majors, figuring out which altcoins or meme coins that they can run, doing like degen trenching, like staring at new pairs. Like I am all over the place. I know they say like master of all trades, or like was it jack of all trades, master of none. I think the biggest thing is like if you don't have the time to dedicate to crypto and you aren't like tapped into all these markets, you don't have good information sources across each of these. Like you need to focus on one thing and one thing only, and like really like hone in and become a master at that specific like sector of crypto, or else you can find yourself like really chopping yourself up, rotating, being in too many plays, not being able to track them, and then looking at your portfolio balance and be like, damn, I was in a lot of things that went up, but my portfolio is still the same. What's going on?
What would that be for the next 3 months?
Be an expert on? I think it would be.
And can I actually, before you answer, I just want to give some context in terms of where I encounter difficulty with that. And I think a lot of other people do, is that I think you can look at the market now and be like, okay, memes will have a resurgence. Maybe USD 1 pairs on bonk. Like there's all these narratives, but that it's like within a couple of days, there might be something else that you think is more attractive that you could be better at. So I think it's like, how do you identify something for like a couple months that you can really become the king of? And also, what would that be for you in Q4?
So I think in general, this isn't something that like interests me as much, but I think it would interest a wider subset of people maybe listening to the show is prediction markets. We've seen like them really like kind of skyrocket. I think South Park just had an episode last night talking about prediction markets. I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list. But I feel like you have a Polymarket airdrop on the horizon. We've seen like information come out of Polymarket basically saying there's going to be an airdrop. We saw Myriad on Aster or on Aster, on Abstract, basically just tease a token on the timeline yesterday with an image of it. So those are two very, very big potential airdrops. And Kalshi is becoming more and more crypto native. They've hired John Wang. They brought on Ultra, who announced their like entry into the team. He's a very, very much so on-chain crypto degen. And I think they're going to have some sort of on-chain presence. I don't know if they're gonna have a token since they're publicly traded. They may like flirt with that line, but like if there is a token on Kalshi as well, like it's worth spending some time there. So if you're somebody who's normal, like you don't even need to be good at crypto to be good at prediction markets. You can just look at them and find something that's like your niche and that you might know more than the average person about, and then kind of get some volume on different trades, or put volume on like very likely things, like say stuff like I can't even remember. It's like, is Jesus coming back this year? Like, is Jesus going to resurrect this year? Like, there's bets on like prediction markets about that. Taking the no on that at super high odds is at least some volume where you're basically sitting in a position and eventually going to earn like a very small amount of yield because it's not 100% yes. So like digging into prediction markets, I would recommend to like the average person. I just am not as excited about it, if that makes sense. But I think it's going to be very lucrative because I think there's a lot of people on chain who think like me, and so it's like not like a consensus play.
I tend to agree with you, and it's something I've hummed and hawed, and even I'll be totally honest with you, I haven't said this to anybody, not even my wife or anything, but at the start of 2025, I was considering, I was traveling for a bit, my family, and I was like, okay, when I come back, I want to get back to crypto stuff. I want to make an effort as a content creator. I've been dabbling here and there, but I'm just kind of dicking around, late night trenching, writing some shit tweets here and there, but I want to actually come back and make a real effort for something. And I kind of whittled it down to two options. One, pitch Milk Road guys on doing a new show that was going to be about degen shit, right? And that's what we landed on, right? And that's what I'm doing now. And we've seen, we can at this for 6 months, and I think now just kind of finding a good stride. And the other was prediction markets and becoming like, because I was big into Kaido at the time, right? And I'd gotten Yaps and I'd gotten the airdrop and I had their NFT, and I was like, they had started doing the voting for the leaderboards, pre-TG boards. And I always saw Polymarket on there as, kind of a fluctuating mind share. But obviously it was on the lows after the election and then after Super Bowl as well. It was like, okay, well, this, prediction market's kind of no man's land now that the two biggest events of the year are done. And I thought, it's funny because I was like, I would read Polymarket content on Twitter every day, and there was none. There was maybe 2-3 people who would actually talk about this, and then their own social accounts. And I was like, nobody is out there being a KOL of prediction markets and actually digging into it, giving good plays where there's so much opportunity there with these incredibly immature markets. And that was my other option. It was like, spend some time learning like politics and maybe not sports, but like all the other stuff that they feature here, and actually make a good go at it. And I landed Milk Road Degen. I'm very happy with my decision, but it's funny that now I'm like, man, if I had done that, like this, that would be paying off now, because fucking Kalshi would sign me. You know what I mean? Kalshi want to fucking sign me, not Ultra. Ultra's good too. They'd sign him too. But I'm like, Kalshi want to hang with me, because I'd be the guy. And I will say as well about I still think now with prediction markets is that they're highly immature. Nobody's an expert here, right? Things like sports betting and charts like stocks, perps, crypto. It's like, dude, you and I will never be in the top 1% of the smartest people to bet on those things, because people have been doing that shit for years, right? And it's like there's so much like either technical knowledge for charting or sports. It's like, man, when I did First Mint, I realized that some sports bettors out there make millions of dollars every year because they're just so fucking smart. And I was like, I will never be better at predicting sports than any of those people. But I still think now that prediction markets is something where it's like, you look at that leaderboard. I know you used to send me Easy's link. Easy's been doing a fantastic job, and he's clearly seized that opportunity. And maybe we'll try and get him on the show as well to chat about that. But I think it's still something where it's like, I'm seeing Polymarket content, Kalshi content that's like, hey, okay, we're going to break down what does Powell usually say in his Fed speeches, right? And you could easily win a couple things for that kind of stuff because, again, the market is just dramatically immature in terms of how much money is actually flowing in and how many like sharp, smart studiers are doing it. So what I'm saying is that for people looking for a decent opportunity where they don't have to risk that much money, but that'll have a larger payoff down the line, I do think that playing on the major prediction markets, it's like if you have an extra 30 minutes a day to study some of these markets, make really smart bets, take some of that upside, because you don't even need the bet to close to win. You just need to trade, like, you know, you buy it at 10 cents, you sell it at 30. There's a long rant, but I think that if you don't want to be just chasing metas and narratives like you and I do, and you don't have the time like you and I do to just look at this stuff all day, I agree that prediction markets is probably something that has a much larger, like a pretty big cookie at the end. If you want to do it daily. I'd love to get Easy on. I'd love to Easy. He definitely has seized the moment for prediction markets, and he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, he's put a ton of content out, and like all of his plays are public on his page, Easy Eats Bodega, and like he's hits at an absurd rate on these. Absolutely absurd rate. I don't know how he does it. It's like it's like the most random stuff. I think he does mostly like pop stuff, like pop culture stuff, like a lot of mention.
He was betting on the South Park episode about it.
Yeah. Yep. That's like the ultimate meta. It's like bets on the South Park meta. If bets on the South Park episode talking about betting on different things on prediction markets. So yeah, he's been putting out a ton of content. That's a good one to follow if you want to get started. Just honestly, just tail him on a couple of these plays here and there, and then
I love that. That's great. All right, dude. Listen, I don't want to keep you much longer. This is your like second show of the day, and maybe you have more to come. We used to do this game with people at the end of the show, and if you used to listen to First Mint, you know I'm always all about like a bunch of weird shit. So we did this the first couple of episodes, and I got lazy the last few, but I'm going to bring it back to you, and it's just called Hot Seat. So I'm just going to throw rapid questions at you, and you have to answer them without thinking. Okay, so no, you can't say like let me think. You literally just answer right off the top of your head. Okay.
Yep.
Ready? Okay. Hot Seat, Mr. Ray. Okay. Your biggest risk that paid off.
Minting other deeds.
Your biggest risk that got wrecked.
Holding Moonbirds too long.
Oh, I see your infinite objects behind you there. Best airdrop.
Best airdrop. Honestly, it's probably Blast.
Worst airdrop.
I can't think of it. It's probably something small and insignificant. I haven't put a ton of effort into something that hasn't been paid out too well.
Zora for me, after using it for years. Anyways, token we should all be buying right now.
Wrecked.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you guys buying on the show this morning. Token that is way overhyped. And whoever it is, don't take it personally, whatever he says.
Fartcoin.
Oh, fave influencer. And you can't say anybody in Bodogos.
I like ICO Beast.
Smartest person you know.
My grandfather.
Oh, that's really nice. Last meal before you die.
Cheeseburger, medium rare.
From?
Made myself.
Nice. That's sweet. Right on, man. Okay, well, Ray, dude, thank you so much for coming, guys. Check him out. I guess what's your handle? Just RCIV.
RCIV NFT.
What's RCIV? Is that are those your initials?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody, I always thought everybody I talked to, I'm like, your handle must have something like amazing behind it. They're like, it's just my name, areas. So guys, check them out on Twitter, RCIV NFT. Still got the NFT in the handle. That's great. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. And make sure you guys check out, the Daily Bone every morning, 9 a.m. ET, the show that I love tuning into when I'm getting ready for the day. And dude, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute blast. Like I said, you had a ton of amazing guests, and I'm just happy to be numbered among them.
Want updates from the trenches alongside the tokens we're trading? Sub to our channel, then join the Milk Road Degen and Degen Pro newsletters. This show's for educational purposes only. Nothing we say is financial advice. Investing is risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose.